Stay tuned for another episode of the Coming Soon podcast with sPidA.
Hello, everybody. Once again, this is the Working Class Nobody Zine, and my guest, John, man. You are all the way up north, brother. I'm in Texas. Of course, you're right above me, Canada, Toronto, my man. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. I mean, I know the day is already upon us. I mean, it's already you're an hour ahead, but for me, it's almost time to go to bed, man. But I'm doing great. Of course, I'm waiting to bring you on here, plug you in, kind of plug in as far as what you're doing, because you own an independent record label, and of course, Cartridge Heart. I saw it, caught my attention. I'm going to put the logo on there, of course. And so when I saw that, I said, you know what, man, let me get a hold of this guy, man. But tell us, I mean, this when it comes to the record label, man, how long have you guys been around?
It's just over 7 years now. Cartridge Heart started as just a label for me to put on my own releases.
Yeah.
I've been playing in independent bands around Toronto for close to 20 years now. And yeah, the vast majority of our stuff is self-released. And, you know, you do it for long enough. You're like, I might as well put a logo on this. So, yeah, for like, you know, most of the time that Cartridge Heart has existed, it's been mostly just for my own band, the Mendozas.
Oh, okay.
And last year was the first year where I got into releasing other people's music. And I got together a dozen of, you know, my favorite local bands, and everyone recorded a new song over the weekend, and we put out a compilation called Go Kick Ass.
Yes, I saw that, bro.
Then this past May, put out a record for No Sunshine Collective. They're a Toronto-based rock and roll band, really loud, really fast, just like kind of like Husker Du.
Yeah.
And then coming out in just over a week, we have the next compilation, Go Kick Ass 2, where I put out a call to, again, you know, my favorite bands in the scene, a few more this time, and we have a 29-track double disc. So it's a big compilation this year.
No, you see, and I got to ask, because of course, being in the band, I mean, you kind of felt like this was something people needed, right? I mean, because obviously you're reaching out otherwise to bands that probably wouldn't get picked up or wouldn't pick up a label. Nothing wrong with the independent scene. I mean, I know bands from the past that have been self-labeled for years and they do great, you know, but obviously you doing this and bringing them on, I mean, it's actually helping out, right?
Well, there's a bit of a disconnect, especially to like people who aren't necessarily plugged into the independent scene, where they might think, you know, because they've never heard of a band, it's because the band isn't good.
Right.
And I feel like it's two completely different skill sets. You know, making the music is one skill set, and like self-promotion and that hustle is a different skill set. And, you know, just because you haven't heard of a band doesn't mean they're not, you know, as good as, if not better than all the bands on the radio.
No, I agree, man. And you see, and that's one of the downfalls when it comes to independent anything, when it comes to independent films, independent music. You know, I'm big when it comes to horror movies, of course. And so whenever I see a movie, I'm like, damn, this is like way better than what I just saw last week on the big screen, you know, and it's just so the way it rolls, man. Unfortunately, you know, sometimes it's just, you know, not everything gets out there, but yeah, man. I mean, I like what you're doing. The whole Cartridge thing, man. I'm grabbing this because here locally, I mean, I am in San Antonio, Texas. I tend to cover a lot of horror events. I go to Comic Cons, Retro Cons, and I actually have one of my vendors, and he actually does these 3D prints for me, and they're pretty much 2 of 2. So whenever the guests come out here, I get one done with the movie that we're in, and I have them autograph it, man.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, bro. And it's an actual 3D. And of course, I get the actors that get on there. I get to interview them. And I'm like, hey, by the way, can you sign this? You know, and for the most part, I mean, you know, everybody digs them. I mean, they're not actual games, but they're nice collectibles. And, you know, I've got a whole stack, dude. So every time I do these events, I take 1 or 2 and, you know, just show them, and everybody loves them. But yeah, I mean, your logo, I mean, that's, like I said, it caught my eye. So I said, man, let me see what this guy's about, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm a nerdy guy. I love my old school Nintendo games.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah. You see, I don't even think I went as far as Super Nintendo, honestly, man. It was just Nintendo, and after that, I just kind of got away from it. But I still have the game. I still have the cartridge, cartridges, and it's always a nice little throwback, man. Now, let me ask you. I mean, when you guys release, because you did mention that you do release in vinyl, correct?
No, CD.
CD. Okay, now that's what I was gonna ask you, because on the name itself, it threw me off. Initially, I saw that and I was like, okay, you know what? This is a throwback. So I didn't know if you did stream. I know I saw the compilation on your website, which is actually scrolling to the bottom right here for those watching. They can actually go out there and check it out and support. But as far as pressing, man, I mean, it's everything in house.
No, it's definitely like kept local. There's a Toronto company called Yokai that I've been working with on my stuff for over 12 years now, and they always do a great job. So I go with the Toronto company for the CD pressing. I always go with independent artists to do design work. Shout out to Quite All Right in Welland, Ontario, and to Miller Marshall, actually out of Australia, who does the artwork for Go Kick-Ass. He was living in Toronto when I met him, and he's since gone back home to his native country, but he'll be back soon.
Okay, cool, man. And I was going to ask too, because I mean, I've never been up north. I've never been outside the U.S. when it comes to Canada, man. But as far as the weather, bro, like we are in Texas. Last week we were like at 105, 107. This week we're getting a cold front. So how's the weather over there, man?
Oh, it's lovely. I mean, it's the last month of summer, which is always, in my opinion, the best weather-wise.
Oh yeah.
You still get to go outside during the day and get what I like to call nature's hug, where it's really warm, and then it cools down at night, and you can put on your jacket if you want to look cool, or it's not oppressively hot overnight. I have a friend in Texas, and she describes it as stay-at-home weather.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I grew up here in San Antonio, man, and I keep hearing people say like, oh, you know what, you get used to it. And that's a complete lie. You don't get used to it, bro. You just tend to tolerate it, and it gets hotter like every time. Every year it's a little bit hotter, bro. And one of the things, I mean, San Antonio itself, it boomed, after the I guess COVID, epidemic thing we had going on, man. Like a lot of people started moving from California out here, and houses started popping up. So of course, a lot of trees went down. A lot of areas are now, filled with houses. So that was pretty much what kept us cool, I guess. But now it's like pretty bad, bro. Like I want to move out of here. I mean, that's how bad it's getting. So
come to Canada.
I was gonna say maybe I'll go out there, man. I'll get my my passport and go check it out first and see what's up.
Yeah,
but man, but let me ask you, when it comes to the label itself, what is it that you guys? Obviously, I mean, it's a lot of local bands, but do you reach out to bands outside of your country?
Not so much. I mean, I always say Cartridge Heart is a vanity project for myself. It's very much about what I like. So if I like a band's music, I'll reach out to them to put out their stuff. I publish a paper zine called Plastic and Wax. It's 8 pages quarterly.
Oh, nice, man.
And I write about what I find interesting. I think that, it's one of the nice things about being a one-man show is that it's all about my taste. I'm an opinionated guy. And, my opinion is that, the 29 bands on Go Kick-Ass 2 is the best you can get, or among the best you can get, in Canada. And, if anyone disagrees with me, I'd love to hear what you think is better so I can go check them out too.
I was going to say they can start their own zine and talk about it, right?
Well, yeah, no, I love that stuff. We have really great independent labels in Ontario. We got Pink Lemonade Records in Kitchener, just west of Toronto, and then there's Tarantula Tapes up north.
Yes.
Right, and everyone's doing their own thing, and awesome. It's faster and louder, very like Ramones core type music.
Nice, bro.
Right, so I really love what they're doing, and I want to play too. So
no, you see, and that's kind of cool that you're doing that, because I mean, it's just like with me when it comes to social media, I do cover combat sports. When I first started doing that, I started going after the fighters that I noticed weren't getting any attention, man. So I said, you know what, let me start interviewing these guys, because everybody had their favorites. So I started going for the underdogs, and that's how I grew, man. I got pretty big when it came to combat sports social media, man, or as far as the media company. And, so that's kind of what we started doing. It was just to do it, interview everybody, but I mean, definitely go after the underdogs, the people that weren't getting heard. And, they appreciate it, man, because like you said, I mean, as many bands that are out there, I mean, you could probably get a couple more labels out and still cover more, it's enough to go around. And I mean, everybody's got their own tastes. I mean, obviously you're going after what you enjoy and you like listening to. So it just makes sense, man. So that's pretty damn good.
Oh, thank you.
Now, let me ask you, because you say you've been in the scene, I mean, 20 years, or was that just working with the whole music thing?
Yeah, I mean, I started my first band, Fire Hydrant, fresh out of school. I was 22 years old, and I started hanging out open mics, and I convinced a couple of friends to start a band with me. And I've just, ever since then, always been in a band. One band breaks up, we start a new one. That band breaks up, we start a new one. The band I'm in right now, the Mendozas, was a side project that was only supposed to last for, 2 shows and a 4-song EP. And, me and my collaborator, Mike, we were having so much fun with it. We just kept the band going. And, here we are 7 years later.
Man, you see, and that's actually pretty cool, because it does start off like that. I mean, I know a lot of bands, once again, from the past, that were doing side projects, and it just they got bigger than the actual band. It's crazy how that works. But it's just it depends what side of town you're on, I guess. When it comes to music, I mean, not everybody. I guess it's just like when you walk to a department store and you always see the same product, the same place, and you move it over to the other side and people start noticing it, right? It gets people's attention. Now, let me ask you, because of the whole zine. Of course, I mean, it's in paper format, right? You were saying?
Yep.
And how long has that been running?
So it's just been running for about a year now. I put it out every 3 months, and I keep it manageable because, like I said before, I'm a one-man operation. So something that I can, write without overwhelming myself, and, print them out, fold them myself, distribute them, put them in people's hands. And I don't know, it feels really good to, like, hand someone, basically your musical opinion. I say, hey, I want you to listen to these bands, and I've written about why you need to do it right here. And, hopefully they read it and they enjoy the writing, but, more importantly, hopefully they check out those bands and they like them as much as I do.
No, I agree. I mean, the whole zine thing, when I started, my friend Tony, we started doing this, started here in San Antonio. I just so happened, I said, you know what, I want to do this. There were zines that were barely coming out that were pretty damn good. I mean, obviously they had computers. I didn't. I mean, we had one, but I didn't have the programs. Mine was like, I would make a Xerox copy, I would cut and paste, I would shrink it down, and then go to Kinko's and start printing them. Man, it was just like literally handmade. And the first zine that I got, I said, you know what, I'm gonna send it to a few labels. Out of like the blue, man, this one record company from New Mexico calls me, and they're like, hey, you know what, how's the scene over there? And I said, it was pretty good, punk rock. And I said, it was actually happening, man. There was a lot of stuff going on. He's like, hey, you know what, you have record stores there? I'm like, yeah. He says, if I send you a box with invoice, can you sell them for me? And I was like, yeah, dude, sure. So he sent me a box, bro, like stacked with vinyl and 45s, t-shirts, buttons. And I'm like, holy crap. I was like, wow, dude, okay, this is, and so I go to my record stores, man, and do the first one's like going through it, how much? I tell him the price. He's like, okay, I'll take it. And I said, okay, what do you want? And he said, the whole box. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, dude, like, so awesome. I kind of, yeah, dude, like I was saying, luckily I took what I wanted. I started, I was already collecting vinyl. So I said, you know what, let me just grab one of each, and after that one, I said, okay, you know what, like, let me hit up the other stores. And dude, I mean, before I knew it, like I had contact this guy from New York, Headache Records. They were doing nothing but 45s, man. The guy was in the band called the Retro Ones. Contacted me, the same thing, sent me a box full of invoice. I started selling those out of trunk at shows. I pull up, pop my trunk, boom. Dude, I had like 5 record labels sending me vinyl, bro. And I was sending them zines because they're like, yeah, send me how much, and we'll sell them for you. And the craziest thing was I was in Austin, and this guy's walking around with the zine, right? And I'm like, and I was like, dude, that's mine. And he says, what? He's like, nah, bro, I bought it. And I said, no, I know, but I said, that's me, bro. And I tell him, look in the back, and I had a P.O. box, right? Because people used to write back then. And he was just like, oh crap, dude, I ordered this from I forgot the name, the label in Germany. He's I ordered a whole bunch of vinyl and I ordered it, man. And he's like, dude, the whole time I could have just grabbed it here, you know. But that was cool though, man. I kind of like I said, okay, you know what, I got something here, and you know, I went up to 4 issues and I folded. You know, it was a lot going on, but you know, it could have been something. It's just I didn't take it seriously enough, and that's why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bring that back. I'm gonna go ahead and start plugging in bands, kind of like with what you're doing. You know, I want people to listen to these bands. I want people to, you know, purchase, support, you know, go out there and see what you guys are doing, especially, man. But let me ask you this, because of course the CDs, man. I mean, when it comes to your band now, do you guys have a release under your label?
Oh yeah. So the Mendozas, we've put out 3 records, all of them through Cartridge Heart. The most recent one, it's called Loafers. It came out back in June. Nice. We have a couple of videos out for it, and it's getting a good response. A lot of people listening to it. A lot of people messaging saying they like the songs.
And what's the as far as the taste, man? What's the influence for you guys?
A lot of Green Day, some Descendants, some Motorhead, which, you know,
Cool.
I think everyone should like Motorhead, and if you don't like Motorhead, there's something wrong with you. But I mean, I can be opinionated.
No, there you go. I was gonna say they can start their own label. You know, they can. No, but I agree, man. I mean, the fact that those bands, of course, you know, I guess it'd be considered like what 90s alternative. I mean, I know Green Day, they came through here years back when they still hadn't hit big. I think we paid like $8 to go watch them. Right, it was like 3 bands and. You know, Descendants, the same thing. I mean, a lot of great bands that I've been able to watch personally, and dude, that's definitely great, man.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been like a really fun band to play in, because we all like different stuff. Like I really like 90s like melodic alternative rock, whereas Mike, our bass player, he really enjoys 60s British invasion.
Oh, nice.
And our drummer Dick, he just really, really, really loves Blink-182. So when you put the 3 of us together, you know, it's this neat mix of all of our tastes. So I don't have to worry about chasing a specific sound. I just let whatever is going to happen, and it's, you know, 10 times out of 10, it's good. There's my opinion again.
No, man, but I mean, I kind of like that, because even like before, when I used to interview bands, and I'm like, hey, you know, what's your stats? You know, what kind of vinyl do you have? And it'd be like everything, like nothing compared to what they were playing on stage. And I just thought that was pretty cool, because it's like, here you are getting influence from death metal, from hardcore bands, and then singing in the ska band, right? Which is like, you know, a little, you know, it's a little, it's not unheard of, but I mean, back then it was kind of cool, because it's like, okay, you know what, everybody can still kind of agree and just be like, yeah, man, let's play this ska music and, you know, get this band going. But when they came to taste buds, everybody was different, bro. So it definitely made for a great cup of coffee, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you pick up inspiration in the strangest of places.
Yeah.
There was a folk singer I really enjoyed by the name of Brian Vander Ark, and he would always say that his guitar was just a tool for him to deliver his storytelling and melody.
Nice.
Right? And he would always do melody first. So I very much adopted a 3 chords and a melody approach to my songwriting, which is, you know, it's really simple. Like the bands I played in before, I would always try to go really heavy on effects and dynamics, and I had this huge pedal board. And so for, the Mendozas, this side project, I wanted to sort of strip it all down, make the music simpler, make it more immediate. Definitely, you know, as a byproduct became catchier. But, you know, for me, I think it made me a stronger songwriter, and, you know, to some small degree, a stronger guitarist. So.
No, you see, and I like that though, man, because I mean, the simpler the better. I mean, I can definitely listen to death metal, I can listen to hardcore, I can listen, but there's something about being able to hear the singer's voice in the song, and you're like, oh man, this guy is telling a story. You know, it's not just, you know, yelling about being angry, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, but there's a story behind it, man. And, you know, like the Descendants, I mean, all these bands, dude, like all these bands were great because of that. They would get up there and they would sing you the story, and everybody's singing along. But if you sit down and you listen to the lyrics, or you read the lyrics, you're like, wow, okay, you know what? Like it's they're actually singing about something. You know, it's I mean, for me, I mean, I'll go back to punk rock music. I mean, for me back then, it was just about, everything was political, man. I mean, I'm not saying left or right, but it was just something. It was just us against them, and it was always about the government, doing what's best for them and not for us. The whole political thing, the whole working man, you know, uh, working class, I guess, thing. But when it comes to you, man, I mean, like you're saying, because obviously you do write. I mean, are you the only writer in the band?
Pardon?
Are you the only writer in the band right now, or?
No, Mike writes some songs as well. We joke, we call him Hardcore Mike because he's got the fury, the piss and vinegar in him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it kind of counterbalances my saccharine side.
You see, and of course, I mean, do you guys kind of like if do you write something, does he kind of take over, or do you kind of show him like, hey, you know what, this is what I have, and you guys just kind of work on something, on projects?
Yeah, usually we'll bring a half-finished song in and say, I've got a verse, I've got a chorus, and I haven't got it all figured out, and let's fill in, the blanks that are there, because it's a lot easier to do that than to start with nothing. Like I find every time you try to jam out a song, sometimes you get a cool riff, sometimes you get a cool groove, but there's no song in there, right? And some songs are right that way, but I think the best songs definitely come with that good hook to start, and then you build around that.
No, for sure, brother. I mean, I've interviewed filmmakers, I've interviewed writers when it comes to movies, and one of the things somebody had told me one time was like, what, the horror movies now, it's all about being chased. Like the whole time somebody's running after somebody, but where's the plot? Where's the story? Where's the character buildup? And it's true, I mean, I love all that stuff. I mean, if I'm watching something or reading or listening to a song, like I want to I want to know what they're singing first off. Of course, I don't want to be singing something I ain't supposed to, but it just makes sense. It's just something you can relate to.
Yeah, I mean, the horror is most effective when you really, really don't want those characters to die.
Yeah.
Like when you're like, oh man, not this one, and then it happens and you feel terrible, and that's the horror experience, right?
Let me ask you, when it comes to the music scene, I mean, obviously, is it pretty big where you're at right now?
Oh yeah, no, Toronto is huge. There's tons of venues, and what's neat is because we lost a lot before the pandemic, is they're popping up again. It seems like every week I'm hearing about some spot that I have to check out. The younger bands, they're carving out their own space, which is neat. You like to see it.
No, and of course, man. I mean, when it comes to playing, I mean, do you guys teach as well? I mean, do you teach classes? Do you teach as far as instruments or anything like that?
Oh no, I'm not nearly proficient enough to give anyone any advice on how to play an instrument.
You'll tell them what to listen to, but you won't show them how to play, right?
I'm really good at listening to music and having an opinion on it. I'm not good enough on the guitar to tell people how to play it.
No, for sure, man. And of course, when it comes to your zine, because how can people get a hold of that?
So everything I write in the zine does make its way online to plasticandwax.net. So if you just want to read it, you can read it there for free. And if you want a physical copy, reach out to me on Instagram, cartridge.heart, and I'll just mail you one.
Okay, cool, man. And let me ask you, because I mean, we were kind of talking about that ourselves, because we were like, man, you know what? Like, I don't want to like print and then have to put it, like, because I have a blog. I mean, obviously, we have stuff where we can put it on, but I think for the most part, we're just going to keep it separate for now, just to see how that goes. But, people have inquired as far as like, oh, where can we see it? And we're like, well, if it's in the zine, you kind of have to buy the zine, so we kind of want to market that. But yeah, it's been it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, there's zines out there, and I pick them up. I support. There's one that I picked up in Austin that was about horror movies, and I don't think actually I do have it. I was gonna say, because I was looking at it the other day, and this is what it is, bro. It's like a miniature little pamphlet, right? Little zine, but it's got like, it tells you all the different like movies, like what to see, the director. I mean, it's pretty cool, man. I saw that and I was like, you know what? Let me check that out, dude. But I like it though. I mean, it's definitely, it's a smaller format, but I was like, man, I support. So I definitely wanted to go ahead and pick it up and see. But I mean, for ours, it's going to be interviews. I mean, we're going to have things that we're not going to post on social media. So of course, people want to see it. We're even thinking about, throwing stuff in there so people will buy it. I mean, whether it's like stickers or, whatever the case. But yeah, I mean, for sure, man. I mean, I would love to, dude, like maybe even in a future issue, like have you guys maybe bring you guys on for an interview and just have it on the zine and, send you some copies so you can,
Yeah, that'd be great.
I
Yeah, no,
the band.
I do like that small format you showed me. I mean, that's plastic and wax is the same size as that one.
Yeah.
Because you can print out, 500 copies for $20.
Yeah, cut them smaller. I mean, do a whole full sheet and just.
Yep.
Yeah, and I do like this. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like ours is gonna be just like a page folded in half, and that's gonna be our format. But yeah, when I saw this one, I was like, dude, I was kind of mind blown because I didn't come out with it. I didn't think about that first, but
Yeah.
it's actually pretty cool. It's cost efficient, and gets the point across, man. The only thing with this is my eyesight's that bad that I gotta squint, bro. Like I gotta read this, but yeah, it's a nice little throwback, bro. Now, let me ask you, when it comes to the band, I mean, of course, you do release CDs, but as far as merchandise for the bands, I mean, are you in charge of that also, or is that the bands themselves?
I let the bands handle that themselves. Like, obviously, if they want to do merch and they don't have like a good company to work with, I can recommend some, try and get them a deal. But, most of the bands I work with are, pretty decent at that end of things.
No, yeah, and then it is for the most part a lot of work because even like you said, I mean, being in a band and doing the CD releases and the zine and everything else, you do get overwhelmed. I mean, I've got I also cover combat sports, so there's like fighters that I actually work with and help out on that end when it comes to like getting shirts done and just stuff for them to sell because they're busy training, they have a fight coming up, so it's like what, I'll go ahead and help them and get some stuff going, man.
What does fighters merch look like? Like, do they have stickers and stuff?
For the fighters?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, for the most part, I know they do shirts. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing they do. I always try to find companies, and I have quite a few that I go through. So if I got somebody and I'm like, hey, you know what, can we make a shirt? You guys sell it, of course, they get a profit, and they just pay the fighter at the end of the process. We usually do like a 30-day and but I mean, it helps so, man, because I mean, when it comes to shipping and everything else, man, after a while, I've done that myself, and it's a lot of work, bro. I mean, the post office, every time I show up with the box full of stuff, they were never too happy, man. So now I'm like, you know what, I'll let the companies deal with that, and that's just but yeah, dude, I mean, I've done enough to where I do I've sold like miniature banners for them, I've done stickers, I've done pretty much whatever's out there, but shirts, the biggest thing for sure.
Yeah, no, I grew up on professional wrestling where they merchandise the hell out of everyone.
Yes.
So you're not doing foam fingers or action figures.
That's not a bad idea though. I'll think about that one though. But no, I mean, for the most part, just shirts, man. I mean, I know some people have gone as far as like hoodies, hats, beanies, stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna sound bad, but the fighters, it's usually when there's a fight that is going on, that's when people, of course, want to support and they want to buy. When they're not, they take off like 2-3 months and it kind of sizzles out. But I mean, like I tell them, they always got to come back and keep plugging in. Whether it's an interview or a blog or jumping on my podcast, get some content out there, man. But anything that keep them going, keep their name up there.
Yeah, I guess it's not like pro wrestling where they're on TV every week just talking at each other.
No, that's, man. I don't know, man. I mean, to actually get in the fight every week, I know those wrestlers get beat up, bro. But these guys, I mean, a lot of them get cut up and they can't fight for a few months, man.
I think that's why they do the story stuff, so they don't have to wrestle every week. They just show up and they grab a microphone and they say something really mean, and then the other wrestler runs off with their wife, and we got to fight.
And then the following week they're back together, right?
Yeah, exactly. Haha, it was a trick. We tricked you into thinking you stole my wife.
Go buy my shirt. Go buy my foam finger.
Exactly.
Well, let me ask you, because of course, being in Toronto, man. I mean, when it comes to pro wrestling, because I grew up here in Texas, like I said, for me, the Von Erichs, World Class Championship Wrestling back in the day were big. Southwest Championship Wrestling. I mean, I grew up in I turned 50 this year, so I grew up in the 80s and. Listening, watching, wrestlers like that, man, it was always a good thing. I still watch it. I haven't been to a live show in a while, but, when it comes to TV, I'm always on there, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, the way it works up here is basically every Canadian wrestler is one of us. So when I was growing up, Bret the Hitman Hart was basically like a god up here. And during the story when he was teaming up with Owen and the British Bulldog and Jim Neidhart and Brian Pillman, like those guys are off the charts popular. And nowadays, you got your Edge, your Christian, your Chris Jericho, your Kenny Omega. Basically, if you're a Canadian wrestler, then we like you anywhere in Canada.
Hey, yeah, you guys support your own. It's always big. I know when the WWE would go out there, of course, they would make it to where the local guy would be the hero, or it just gets the fans involved. So definitely that was a smart thing on the promotion side.
Yeah, I sort of like the harmless side of patriotism.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, definitely, man, because it even happens with combat sports. Where there's boxing. Slap fighting. I mean, that's a thing now, but I mean, you got different countries, and it's just like, everybody's got their favorite, man.
Yep. I mean, that's your merchandising right there for the slap fighting. Instead of the foam finger, you just do the foam hand.
There you go, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna patent that one right now. Let's see what's available, bro. No, yeah, I actually have a buddy of mine in Austin who's actually he's got one sponsored, and he's the super heavyweight champion right now, man. And that, bro, I mean, it's not me. Like, I can't just stand there and get the hell slapped out of me, man. But I mean, people want to watch it. It's entertaining. I mean, they're getting hits. It's everywhere.
How are like the classes divvied up in slap fighting? Like, does it have to do with the circumference of your hand instead of like the size of your body?
It should be, bro.
Yeah.
Believe me, some of these guys are freaking giants, man. But I mean, I know it's weight divisions. I mean, I've actually interviewed one of the contestants on my the Fight Card podcast, which is my other project, and I was curious because I was like, man, let me get this guy in here, just kind of ask questions, and I mean, like from training to everything, I was just like, okay, like, I mean, I thought about that because even now, like, if you tell me, hey, get that football and throw it, I'll be like, I got to think about it. I'm like, okay, hold on. How am I going to throw this? I don't want to freaking throw my shoulder out or something. But, yeah, but they train, bro. I mean, it's crazy, and I mean, sponsors are going crazy for it, man. I mean, I know they're doing pretty good when it comes to, getting branded and just getting paid, which is the biggest thing right now. So, I mean, good for them. Hell, shit. Somebody wants to give me a couple $1,000 to slap somebody, man, hit me up. I'll do it. Or get slapped. I mean, I'll do like 50,000.
Are there slap fighting zines yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Actually, on this issue, we're actually going to do I'm going to bring a fighter on. So the first issue that's going to drop in October, I have one of my buddies. He's big with horror, man. So I hit him up and I says, you know what, man, jump on there, bro. Let me send you a couple questions. And he was like, yeah, dude, for sure, and so yeah. But I mean, as far as fight zine or nah, bro, that's interesting, man. I'm gonna have to patent that one too.
Yeah, we had a thing up here about 15 years ago, I want to say, called the Pillow Fighting League.
That was back then?
I mean, it is old, yeah. And I know, like, I think someone has taken it and run with it in the U.S., but it was a Canadian thing. This fellow named Stacey Case started it. Oh, wow. And I mean, it was all women, but it was run like pro wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Right. So all of the pillow fighters had, like, tough personalities and over the top personalities. I think one of them was a zombie. And they would do wrestling matches, but the rule was every move had to involve the pillow. And they would come out with their gimmicks, their music, and it was pro wrestling that didn't hit as hard, which I thought was really fun. But yeah, Pillow Fighting League. Man, that would be.
I mean, for me to have to think about hitting somebody with a pillow and coming back with something else, that's I don't know. I can't multitask like that, man. So I wouldn't be a pillow champion, that's for sure, bro. No, you see, you brought up the whole gimmick because we used to have this one called Glow, Gorgeous Ladies Wrestling. Yeah, you see, so when you mentioned the gimmicks and the women, I said, okay, well, we had something like that, but we didn't have the whole pillow thing because I know it did start popping up. I mean, I don't even know if it's still going on, but I even joked around and told people like, dude, I'll get my pillow guy to sponsor me. You know, I mean, I'll get paid and go out there and just start whacking people, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. Some of those, I mean, I've seen them, and I'm like, okay, you know, it's the same thing. I mean, obviously, you can move. It's not like slap fighting. You can move around and use your
Yeah.
footwork. But I was just like, damn, it's still be like I definitely have to be at home practicing on something, man, because it's just not, you know. I mean, it doesn't come naturally to me. So
Yeah, well, I mean, the pillow fighting league is worked like pro wrestling. It's not like, you know, a combat sport, like mixed martial artists or, you know, slap fighting, boxing. You know, the ones where, you know, you really are fighting for your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
this would be. I mean, there would be a storyline, in other words, right? So
Yeah.
that wouldn't be too bad, though, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we can do an international thing, man. We'll do a pillow challenge or something, bro. We'll get something going.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, bro. I mean, when it comes to life outside of music, man, what is it that you're involved in, man? I mean, are you involved in sports? I mean, you skateboard. What do you do?
I'm a huge baseball fan.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And is that I mean, locally? I mean, as far as Canadian?
No, mostly just like watching on TV. Like I follow, my team is the Atlanta Braves. I grew up in the 90s when they had amazing pitching and it was on TV every day. So, you know, I got into the Atlanta Braves. I'm really into comic books, like Spider-Man. Yeah, and when I get the kiddos around, one thing we do is we like to draw our own 3-panel comic strips.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's fun to do. You know, you just come up with a joke real quick. It doesn't have to be funny, and you draw your characters and you do your punchline, and you've drawn a comic. It's just fun to do.
Man, that's actually when my kids were little, I had this idea, and I said, you know what? Because we're always playing games, like driving around, and we're like, hey, I spy or whatever, right? And one day I was like, man, I'm gonna get them those little erasable boards, and while we're driving around, they can draw. And so I started doing this thing where I'm like, okay, you know what? Draw me a horse and a dragon. And they would both draw and something, and they would show me, and it was just like complete opposite, bro. Like I was like, oh damn, you know. So, but it was interesting to see, you know, how they, as soon as I would say two different like creatures or whatever, like whatever their mind would think of, they would try to draw it, and it was just like one would be like a dragon with a horse head, and the other one would be like, you know, a horse with dragon wings or whatever. And so it was one of those things we did, you know. But I mean, it got their creativity juices going. You know, my oldest was like, she was an artist. You know, she hadn't done much lately. I was kind of hoping she'd pursue it because she could, like, dude, she would draw. I mean, she would show me things, and I'm like, who did this? And she, you know, she'd be like, me. And I'm like, you did this? And she's like, you know, yeah. And I'm like, damn, like, dude, I mean, it was great stuff, man. So, you know, but she didn't pursue it. And after that, I mean, it just went nowhere. But she could have had something, man.
I mean, it's never too late. I mean,
No,
get her started making her own zine.
Bro, like I've tried getting my youngest involved in podcasting. I even bought her equipment, and I'm like, you know what? It doesn't even have to be about anything. Just if you want to vent, it's good therapy. You know, she was going through I don't want to say issues, but she was just like, Dad, you know, she had questions, and I was just like, well, you know what? Just get on there, man. Just start connecting with people like-minded, and just, you know, see where it goes, and that way you don't, you know, you don't have to stay home and just think about nothing about this stuff all day. You can talk about it, you know. But she didn't want to do it, you know. I mean, I talked to them weekly, and you know, her and my oldest actually got into fitness, so they're both like training all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, that's good, you know. At least they're working it out, and you know. But you know, one of the things I would always tell them, man, it's just like when they were growing up. I mean, they were in high school, and I think my oldest was the one. And I would tell her, like, you know what, like, I don't want to discuss politics in the house, like. You know what? If you got, because they were both kind of like, oh, that, this, and then I'm like, you know what? That's fine. You know, you can have that. I mean, that's, you know, your choice. That's what you think. I said, there's no problem with it. But I would always tell them, you know, just keep that outside the house. Like, you know what? There's going to be a time and a place. It's just like we're eating dinner. I don't want to be talking about this stuff. You know, watching TV. But one of the things my oldest, I mean, because she was like, oh, you know, upset about the world, man. She was just like angry at everything. And I had told her, and I said, look, I said, one of the things about growing up and being an adult, I said, that I've learned is that you got to pick your fights. I said, if not, you're going to be fighting every freaking day, 10 times a day, because you know what I mean? I said, there's going to be so much to fight about. I said, but you got to pick your fights. I said, you got to think about like where you want to push your aggression. If you really want to put everything on this, or, you know, I said, dude, half this stuff, it don't really matter, man. I mean, when it comes to one of the best examples, and I'll say this, like one day, I do a contract delivery, right? So I deliver furniture all over the city. And one day I'm driving and I see this guy I see a wheelchair like in the street, like on the sidewalk, and this guy's on the floor, man, like halfway on the street. And I'm like, crap, you know, so I pull over, put my hazards, I run over there. And the first instinct is to help the guy out, man. It's a big dude. So I'm over here struggling, right? Like this other guy stopped and helped me. We put him up there. And, you know, the guy's like, hey, thanks, guys, this and that. I'm like, hey, are you good? Yeah, okay, boom. We went about our business. I told my kid, I said, look, I said, for 1 second, not even at all, did I think, okay, is this guy Republican? Is this guy Democrat? Is he pro-life? I said, nothing mattered. I said, we do it because we're good people and we want to do good things. I said, that's what, you know, life is about, man. I said, and not everybody's going to appreciate it. Not a problem. You know, one of her other pet peeves was like, she would open the door for people and they would say thank you. She'd be like, Dad, you know, they didn't thank me. And I said, you know what, why did you open the door? She's like, well, because, you know, it's a good thing to do. And I said, okay, well, that's your thank you, man. You do it because you want to. I said, nobody's telling you to do it, but you know, it's like, if you want to be a good person, I said, if they thank you, that, you know, not everybody's raised the same. I said, maybe they didn't have somebody to teach them, you know. I said, but you know, that's on them, man. Like, I mean, don't get upset. If not, then just don't open the door, man. You know, leave it open, leave it closed, let them open it. But yeah, bro. But I mean, it's just, you know, that's why I was hoping they go this route and, you know, express themselves one way or another. Just whatever aggression or whatever they had, I'm like, man, just work it out, man. But they're at the gym now, so doing good, brother. Now let me ask you, man, when it comes to, I mean, I already asked you as far as sports, baseball. Did you ever play baseball, or did you just start following it?
I played for a few years when I was young.
Okay.
Yeah, they put me in the outfield. Then I got real big. Big fella. I'm 6'4", so you know, now they should put me at first base.
Man, no basketball?
No basketball. I have no jump.
Oh, they could have been like Shaquille, man. Just put you under the net.
Yeah, no, I mean, compared to people who play basketball they tend to be very large, right? Like I'm not the tallest person on the court. I'm usually the tallest person on the stage, but you know, basketball people, they tend to be, you know, tall.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely, bro. And of course, I mean, when you got skills to top it off, you know, it definitely helps. Now, once again, then, I mean, as far as the band, are you guys playing anytime soon?
Yeah, we're playing in Tilsonburg on Saturday. We're doing it's called Homebrews and House Shows.
Okay.
So if you want to know the address, send us a message on Instagram. We're doing a release show for the Go Kick Ass 2 compilation, September 14th at the Doc Ellis in Toronto.
Nice.
If you're listening and you're from Toronto, you know, come check out the show. We got 4 great bands. We're playing with Life Skills, The Black Fever, and Fast Eddie. If you're not in Toronto, there's a bunch of other shows happening in Ontario that weekend, in London, in Oshawa, in Guelph. And yeah, all the bands on the compilation are playing around the province, you know, bringing that to everyone, you know. So
you said there was 29 bands?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have all 29 playing that weekend, but there's 7 shows over 3 days, so you know, there's plenty to check out.
Okay, and I mean, it's the same venue, different stages, or is it just
4 different venues?
Oh,
so
okay.
we got one in Oshawa, one in Guelph, one in London, one in Toronto.
Oh, okay, got it. I thought you were the same, but dude, that's cool though, man. And I mean, when it comes to playing, I mean, have you guys played outside Canada, bro? Have you guys gone outside the country?
Not yet. I mean, the visa situation makes it a bit tricky. They just quadrupled the price of P2s, so.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, it's really easy to play in Canada if you're an American band, and it's really hard to play in the US if you're not an American band.
Damn. Okay, I didn't even. Yeah, because I know. I mentioned earlier the actor, man. I mean, he was saying the same thing because I had asked him if he was going to do conventions, and he's like, "Man, it's gotten too pricey. Like, you know, it's not like it used to be." I mean, of course, you know, he used to come. For the most part, I think like California when it came to the Comic Cons or the horror cons out there, but But that's unfortunate, man. Because of course, like you said, I mean, it's hard. I mean, with social media now, I mean, yeah, it makes it a little bit easier, but it's just like I tell people when it comes to even like my podcast, like I can't just put it out there and expect everybody to see it. I got to promote it, I got to send it out, I got to stream it, I got to hashtag, do all the work, and hope that somebody else picks it up and they enjoy it and follow back, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Now,
the silver lining to it is that the Canadian scene is really nice. Anytime we travel to a new town, we're always met with like really like cool people, who go out of their way to see us play, and they're always really friendly afterwards. So, we still have a lot of Canada to explore. And yeah, one day we'd definitely like to come down to the US, just when the time is right.
if you come to Texas, man, make sure it's not in the summer, bro, because I don't think you guys will make it out here, man.
I'll melt on the spot.
And bro, and of course, man, I'm gonna follow up because I do want to check out your zine. I mean, I'm definitely interested. I'll definitely grab one.
I'll mail you one. Yeah, no problem.
And of course, I mean, we're barely gonna drop. I think we're gonna do 4 a year. So for us, our first one is gonna drop in October. But for the new year, man, I'd definitely like to keep in touch and bring you guys on and get a couple questions asked and just promote you guys out here in the state of Texas, brother. You never know, man. Never know.
That sounds great.
Yeah, well, thank you, brother. Thank you for jumping on this. I know I had asked you on here, so I appreciate your time. I mean, we'll definitely keep in touch, and who knows, man? We'll start networking and see if we can both, if you guys can become famous in Texas and vice versa, man. Maybe I can get a couple followers out there, bro.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Not a problem, man. Don't hang up yet, everybody out there. Of course, once again, this is sPidA, Working Class Nobody Zine. Till next time, follow up.